None know this about me, and what I'm about to say is not in my book. My book is a memoir of a pivotal point in my life. It's not an autobiography. And to not realize these things about me is kind of the whole point. The beginning of this end starts 10 years ago when, like I tell my daughter, I was still a bad guy smoking and dealing crystal meth. My girlfriend at the time just got pregnant. I couldn't be more happy. She couldn't be more upset. Since she didn't want to keep it, she kept on smoking, so we were bumping heads. One day, she sends me into the store to grab a piezo, and since we were bumping heads, she leaves me there. A close friend, which is more like a brother to me, lived close, so I headed to his house. So once I get to his house, no one's home. I could have easily just jumped his fence, but the fact that he lives in a kind of ritzy area, I didn't want to just alert anybody or or whatever. I don't know why, but instead I went to his next door neighbor's house, knocked on the door to see if I could use their phone to call him. No one answered, so I was like, okay, fine. So instead I just go to his house, go to his porch, and I sit down and wait for him to come. And as I'm waiting, sitting down, I start to fall asleep. And as I'm starting to fall asleep, boom, I get hit with the flashlight in my face. And it's the cops. With the light in my face, I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, hey, yeah, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm cool. I'm just waiting for my friend to come home. He said, oh, yeah? What's your name? I said, my name is... He said, oh, yeah, come over here. Just come over here. I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, my name is Ben Morrison. I'm just waiting for my friend. As I get closer, also he grabs me. And then he starts to turn me around, starts trying to read me my rights. And I was like, what are you doing? I said, I'm just waiting for my friend right now, right? They should be home any minute. And as he's reading me my rights, he goes, yeah, right. Right? I'm like, man. And then so from there, I'm getting into the car. All of a sudden, my friend's mom pulls up. And she's pulling up. She's like, what's going on? She's frantic. She's like, what's going on? What are you doing to BJ? What are you doing? And then I'm like, see, that's his mom. That's her right there. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And then he's like, you be quiet. And then he's like, ma'am, do you know this person? She's like, yeah, I do. It's BJ. He's like, oh, what's his name, ma'am? She's like, it's BJ. It's Benjamin Morris. It's Benjamin Morris. What are you doing to him? What's going on? Right? And then he's like, okay, go ahead and sit in the car and wait. So I sit in the car and wait for a minute. And then he comes to me and he's like, okay, I'm going to let you go. I was like, yeah, because I didn't do anything. But I went to the store and I had that piezo. And so I had, that's paraphernalia to smoke crystal meth. So he gave me, I got fined for that. And I had a court date now for the crystal meth pipe. And when it comes to that girlfriend, I knew her from high school, but we met up again years later on the streets. And when I met up with her, she was actually tricking. And my very first mistake with all of this was I refused to see her for what she had become. And all I saw was the sweet little shy girl I remembered from high school. We now fast forward to a couple months. My girlfriend is still pregnant with a little bump now, and she was still trying to smoke. Any child of yours will be a demon hellspawn. I want nothing to do with it. So at this time, she was at my house trying to convince me to let her smoke because I put on the street that she was pregnant with my child and to not sell to her. I refused, and since I refused, all of a sudden she rushed me. She rushed me trying to fight. I don't put hands on a woman, so as she rushed me, I turned around and I grabbed her, and I put her between my bed. And I had my bed and my dresser right here. So she wedged into the dresser, and since she was pregnant, she couldn't get up. So she was over here trying to get up, right? But as she's trying to get up, I'm like that, and I get up and leave. My mom hears the commotion. She comes in the room, and she sees that she's, down there. She can't get up. So my mom's trying to help her up, right? And then I come back in, and then my mom's still trying to help her up. So I'm like, that's what you get, rubbing it in her face. My first mistake. She was like, oh yeah, nigga, F you, nigga. I'm gonna call the cops and say, you put hands on me, nigga. As soon as she said that, I was like, what the no? I went over, grabbed her phone out of her purse, and then I ran out the room, right? And then when I ran out the room, I started calling the cops. My mom comes over. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm calling the cops. She said she's about to call the cops on me. I ain't playing that. And then from that other time when with that piezo, I missed that bench warrant. So I had a warrant out for my arrest. And so my mom was like, don't do that. You have a warrant out for your arrest. You're going to go to jail. And I was like, that's okay. I'd rather go to jail for a bench warrant than to go to jail with people thinking I put hands on a female, because that's a whole nother level. And then all of a sudden my mom grabbed the phone from me and she said, she's pregnant. She's not all there right now. She's just, dealing with some issues. Let me talk to her. Right? And my mom didn't know the details of why we were fighting because, bless her soul, she was trying to do the right thing. So I said, okay, I'll let you talk to her. And I go outside and wait. When I go outside and wait, I wait in my other girl's car. The one inside was my main chick, and then I had a side chick, and she was homeless, living in her car at the time. I tell her what's going on, and she was like, "You want me to go in there and beat her ass, BJ?" And I was like, nah. She's pregnant with my baby, remember? You know what I mean? And plus my mom said she's gonna take care of it. So I just waited to sit it out. And as I'm waiting, all of a sudden, my girlfriend comes out, and she gets in her car and she drives away. I go inside and see what happened, and my mom said that she wouldn't call the cops, not to worry. I was like, okay. And she didn't call the cops that night. She waited till the next night. And they came for me, and I went to jail for the first time. It was the beginning of the end. So long story short, we broke up. She ends up going to Mexico to get rid of the baby. Of course, I'm let out of jail because I did nothing wrong. I was going to counter the charges. But now I'm on probation and going in and out of jail because of dirty bottles because I was pretty addicted. But not only was I mad at the world, I was pissed. I'm over here trying to do the right thing, not jumping fences and stuff, and I get the cops called on me. And all I'm doing is trying not to have my girlfriend at the time, smoke drugs because, she's pregnant with my baby, and I end up going to jail. I felt like a victim. As I'm over here slanging and selling drugs to other people, over here playing the victim as I'm victimizing. But remember, everything is energy, including this. This was negative energy, and best believe I used it. But with all this negative energy on top of more negative energy, it started turning into this dark black. Feeling like a victim, living a life that at the time felt like I could do nothing to change, and plus smoking crystal meth, I started having anxiety/panic attacks, which turned into, for me, asthma attacks. And that year I had several asthma attacks, and each one I felt the pull of the blackness, or in the world of indie ears they call it the void. I could feel my soul going into the void, being tugged like a jagged edge. And of course this leads to the very first pages of my book. But even still, during my darkest of hours, God, my God, was still right there, looking out for me. When those neighbors called the cops, I did have paraphernalia on me, but I wasn't under the influence, and I had no drugs on me at the time. Because of that, once all this was over and done, I didn't have to register as a drug offender. Because of that, I took my NDE, and I stopped it all immediately, cold turkey. I was able to freely go to any city I wanted, which means I'm not a slave to my past. And now, with my passport, I can go anywhere in the world I want. Praise God. And so, I thank you for your time. And to whomever needed to hear this, I pray that it was well received. And to you who was in mind when this video was done, I say this. Years ago now, back when you were looking out for your sister with your auntie, you were in the wrong, but I did recognize you as a man. Every day you're out there in the streets is a countdown. And in the streets, it doesn't matter what city you're in, doesn't matter what state, doesn't matter what country, it doesn't matter what continent. In the streets, when winter comes, so does reality. The ones that have places to go and will be gone. And when the rains come with no holidays, because holidays are for family, you will see exactly where you are, you will see what you have done, and you will see what you are doing. And I pray that you wise up before that happens.